Boom! Hello and welcome to the Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Byron Rodgers. This podcast is dedicated to the executive protection practitioner, the private security professional. In this podcast, we're going to talk about the mental, emotional, psychological, physiological fitness that goes into being an efficient and effective executive protection agent. Whether you're in law enforcement, whether you're a mom that's looking at how to protect her children, or a father that's focused on how to protect his family, I believe this podcast has something for all of you. We might even get into some tales from the crypts of true Hollywood stories from time to time. I'm doing this podcast because I feel the reality of this job is simple. If you really want to be good at executive protection, it's more than just a job. It really is a lifestyle. And those of you who've been in the game for any serious amount of time, you already know what I'm saying is true. So if that sounds interesting to you, enjoy the show. Out. And if you haven't already, get your tickets for the Protector Symposium. The first annual Protector Symposium is taking place in Riverside, California, November 15th and 16th. We've got an all-star lineup of seriously elite trainers. Yosef Badu, Ed Caldrone, and Mike Pannone are all going to be there teaching and instructing us on, well, our common goal, how to make good people more dangerous. So no matter what your background is, you're going to learn skills around the one unifying principle of protection. Get your tickets. Spots are going quickly. And remember, you're going to get over $100 worth of value back in different things that you're going to get from our sponsors with your purchase of a ticket. Check the website out, Byron Rodgers Motivation, for ticket information and to learn more. Out. Boom, yo, what's up, guys? Byron Rodgers here for another episode of the Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast. This episode's a little bit different, as they all of them were a little bit different. This episode, I got my main man, Kevin McCluskey here. How you doing, Kevin? What's up,
Byron?
Yeah, man. What's up? So Kevin me and Kevin we've been working we've worked together, but we've known each other, we've trained together. We got to know each other shooting. When I started doing the competitive shooting, like getting into that stuff, that's when I got to meet this man right here. And he also do a little bit of blacksmithing and stuff like that, so he helped me out a few times with some things. I'm just not a technical guy with guns, so I gotta have a guy like Kevin in the squad, you know what I'm saying? Because you help me figure out the more technical aspects of things.
You're great at breaking things.
I am. We're gonna do this like this. So I wanted to bring you on here because, dude, you're blowing up in the EP game, and I know that was one of your goals, and I get questions all the time about, like, hey, how can I get into the EP game? I always get that. And I'm always like, well, this is how you do it. And I tell people how to do it. And then they, like, do or don't do it. It does or doesn't work. And I just know there's a lot of folks out there with your background, a civilian background primarily, that can be awesome executive protection agents. And so I wanted to show them, like, as you were kind of saying earlier, me and Luke, I think it's episode number 2, getting into the game of protection. Me and Luke did an episode, Luke being the other civilian, total civilian background guy that got me into executive protection, one of them. And we talk about how to get yourself in the game, how to become relevant. This episode, that episode we recorded, it was episode 2, but like me and Luke have been in the game for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, has it changed? Has the strategy changed? I think this is still, we're going to go over some good strategies for getting into the game today that are relevant today. And so, that's one of the reasons I want to bring you on, man.
Thank you, brother. Happy to be here.
Heck yeah. That's what's up, man. And I'm so proud of you, bro. It's just good to see you boys winning and stuff, man. It's good to see you boys winning. So, my usual questions, my psychology background, I like to dive into the man a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Who is Kevin McCluskey at his core?
Oh, that's me.
That's you, bro. Who are you,
I mean, we can start from background from it.
Okay.
I've been, in actual EP game for a little over 2 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just recently took on the latest client, which has been potentially the client in the job I could retire off of.
Heck yeah.
And it's been a little bit of a whirlwind to how I got there.
Mm-hmm.
And like what you and Luke had tried to go over for getting into the game, how do we do it, steps for it. And I know when I knew you, I wasn't looking into that industry yet.
Mm-hmm.
I was still in the defense industry doing more firearms related stuff still at that time. And all the answers you get about it are so open-ended and ambiguous. It's not like, how do you do it? You do all this. Like, well, that's not an answer. Like, that's not a step A, step B, get into it kind of thing. And a lot of the things that weren't related to the industry ended up becoming exactly what got me into it. So coming back from, I mean, some of the first jobs I had in high school was working at gun shops right when Obama got in for his first election, dating myself a little bit. That had a huge upsweep in that industry, and that's what got me a job, and that's what got me in circulation, dealing with all the different kinds of people that deal in the firearms industry.
Yeah.
A lot of security guys, a lot of law enforcement guys, a lot of military guys, sort of understanding how those kind of people work, understanding that vibe, that community. Every community's got their own, not quite stereotype, but they have their own baseline.
Yeah, and they have it's a culture.
Their own culture.
Baseline, yeah.
That's a good way to put it. And understanding that was probably that first foundational step to understanding how to integrate into those cultures.
Heck yeah.
I looked at it from a sales point. That ended up helping me working at it from a teammate, coworker, liaison effect. Later on, I got down to the industry for that.
Well, because you learn through the cultural components, you learn how to speak that language. You learn, the do's and don'ts. And one of the things I talk about a lot, which is like, I think one of the defining factors of someone's success in this game is freaking cultural equity. Good to go. Can you acquire enough cultural equity to stay where you are? To get to grow where you are. Like, you can be a door kicker, you can be the baddest mother jumpy, you can have a freaking ear necklace from your last campaign overseas, but if you can't gain the cultural equity you need, you're gonna die, because you're gonna make a mistake and you won't have the cultural equity there to protect you, or you're gonna need someone to take your side and you won't have the cultural equity there. You know what I mean? So, and you want to get in the door, there's gonna be cultural gatekeepers. They're gonna be like, does this guy fit into what we got going on though? Does he fit into kind of like what we got? Like how we, you know what I mean? So it's that's a good point you bring up, because it would have been really difficult for you to like walk amongst these other professionals and be like standing out, like not knowing how to speak that. You know what I mean? Not knowing how to do these types of things, Another reason why, if you don't have a tactical background, going to an EP school is a really good idea. You know what I mean? Like, because it can help you start, if you're coming, like for someone who's coming completely cold from another industry, you know what I mean? Going to a decent EP school can help you, and it can actually be a springboard, as we'll probably get into a little bit here once we get moving and do some of this content.
Oh yeah, we will. That EP school was where it got me to where I'm at.
Pivotal point is your first job interview before you realize you're on a job interview. You know what I'm saying? But I told you, I was like, yo, we'll get into it. We say that. That's just we'll sprinkle little nitbits on there for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So at your core, who are you?
I am someone who wants to come into a situation and make things better in ways that other people can't.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. And I believe that because I know you as a friend. That is actually absolutely true. Whenever I have a technical issue with anything now, I'm like, yo, I gotta call Kevin, man. Gets those calls on like random nights, Why are you doing what you're doing in the EP game?
That's a fantastic question.
Hey, if you need an introspective, like, I don't know, I can think about that. You know what I mean? Like, why?
I mean, we had this conversation
a
year or two ago.
Uh-huh.
When I was at a truck stop headed back up to the Bay Area for where I was working.
Oh, yeah, because you had to cut your teeth.
Oh, yeah, on that one.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And, I had that...
detail.
That that conversation with you is that
Yeah.
as these opportunities and connections and meetings and offers started coming through, it's almost hard. You have to tailor differently how you're setting a goal for yourself. Because you may put a goal that says, I want to be the top EP guy at Google.
Okay.
It's a very specific goal.
Yes.
How do you attain that? There's steps to do it. How likely are you to do it? Who knows? You know, maybe you meet a guy and there's a guy introduce you and now you're the EP guy at Facebook. I don't know. Similar goal but different outcome, but that was just what the path took you. It's sort of like our answer for how to get into the industry is your goals have to be ambiguous. The goal should just be to go up. In what direction? It seems like that needs to be a little more loose than what you may typically think, rather than you're looking at like a corporate ladder perspective, like I want to be a manager, I want to be a director, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It needs to be a little more open.
Was there something specific that drew you to protection work or EP? Or were you just kind of like looking at us and you're like, I can do that, I want to do that, that looks tight.
It's part of that.
Because, you know, we're like, hey man, I'm coming back from like Greece and Spain, and it's a good life.
From Israel, let me jump in the company Suburban and go drive here and go. It's right? Interesting. It's very not typical. Part of it is that.
Yeah.
Part of it is that inherently is my nature. That's a role that I try to edge into. Like my whole life, I'm the guy at the bar with my back against the wall, having a drink, just watching my people. Yeah. Maybe having a conversation, just watching what my group is doing to make sure they're fine. I'm just in the corner hanging out. Like, that's just me as a person. That's even jobs I was working security for, just circles of friends. I'm just always that dude. I'm always the dude just out watching, observing. Protecting. Just inherently. And I think that fundamental nature to someone is also important. You can have people who can do the job, but you have people, are they the right kind of person to do that work?
Like organically the right type of person.
Organically, yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm the same way. Like, and that's why I have this whole entire thing set up. Because I really believe that the amount of hours that think about it. We just spent a whole Saturday morning. We usually spend our Saturdays up until 2 p.m. shooting, getting after it, training. Like, yeah, the game's fun. You know what I mean? For me, it was never about the game. For me, it was always about, trying to stay warm, keep my gun a little warm. So if I am out with a client and it's time to prove why they pay me in certain ways that we hope we never have to, like, yo, I've already shot like 500-600 rounds this month, to try to be my best. There's no cold and on demand for me. I'm trying to keep it so it's like warm and on demand.
It's warm on it.
Yeah.
I've been in panel interviews for details, and there's a couple times they actually came around and asked the question, how often do you shoot? How often do you train?
Yeah.
And there were a lot of guys in the panel that were law enforcement guys. And they're like, oh, it's my monthly qual, quarterly qual, biannual qual. Like, every couple months I'll shoot a box at the range, and then they come to me and I'm like, no, I shoot 3 matches a month and I'm usually doing 1,000+ rounds a month. And you get a look that's like, whoa, that's way above the baseline for everyone else. And that is a part of what we do. That's a part we do everything else to avoid. Right. But if it ever comes to that, that's the one thing that you truly cannot make a mistake on. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. Heaven forbid. That's when I need to go from using a friggin' baseball bat to a scalpel. And heck yeah, I want to have the software to be able to do it anyway. I got to do it. So heck yeah, man, that's what's up. So what would you say is the extent of your tactical background?
Just what I've been a part of. I mean, not wearing anyone's jersey, being on a team officially, but having those relationships and connections to Mill, LE, Gov, security, whoever it is, from working in the firearms industry. We've been brought in and given certain knowledge or being allowed to participate and observe in certain things that are usually just within that culture. So it's bits and pieces from those worlds, not a full curriculum from it. Yeah. But just being around those guys, working with those guys, training with those guys, trying to build a common reality with them by going and experiencing the same things. And with those relationships, more overlap comes from things we can establish with each other. So it's very
operational knowledge, basically.
Operational, less clinical, less schoolhouse stuff, more let's go in the field and show you something when we have an opportunity to do so.
Heck yeah.
Kind of thing. From a lot of different angles.
Yeah, and then the EP course, which was friggin' Direct Action Group, Max Josephs.
Was Max.
Shout out to Max. Yeah, raw. 75. Hoorah, my man Max. I went to that same course, man. I went to that same course through that same boutique EP company, Talon. Good company. You know what I'm saying? You got to be kind of special to get in there. Oh, we're going to get into some good stuff here.
We'll get into that.
Oh, yeah. But what would you say about... Well, let's see here. When did you first start thinking about doing executive protection?
I was aware of kind of that world. It was after I'd gotten in working at Surefire, and some of the other guys were working there, and some of the circle that I got introduced to, it was the same roundabout way how I met you.
Yeah.
They were in that world full-time, part-time.
Yeah.
I was aware of it. It was very intriguing. It was very interesting. It's very different, that next higher tier, higher echelon of security. And I'd done private security stuff. I'd done some humanitarian aid stuff overseas, babysitting doctors in third world countries kind of thing.
Heck yeah.
And it's more of a, like a mission trip than it is like a full EP security op. But different things, going from that to, bouncing in bars to pay for tabs back in the party years kind of thing. And that was definitely a big boy step up from that stuff. But I had no perspective on how to progress towards it.
Yeah.
And I was progressing in my own lane with what we were doing with, firearms industry, defense industry things. And then the moment that it really hit me was when I was out at Area 2 shooting the Nationals match in Utah, and I got a phone call. Found out that I was now unemployed.
Ooh. Surprise!
Surprise!
Have a fun match.
Yeah, have the next 2 days of high-end competition with that hanging over your head. That was fun.
Yeah.
It actually ended up pushing me in a good way. But then we came back, and it's like, well, time to reset.
Sorry.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. I had to come back from that and to reset, replan, and end up talking to you. And you got me plugged in with our boy Charles. And that started me down that whole new path. It was just sort of the way the flow was going that day.
Heck yeah. Did you think that you would end up being as successful as you were become in just a short 2-year period?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Heck yeah. What would you say about that? To the guy who's like, I don't know if I can do it,
It's not even that, is that it comes up and I'm perceiving me in my own head. Like when you introduced me to Charles, it's like I'm going to stake you to coming in, being totally fresh, and giving it a shot, which we did. And it started with that, and then another person in that organization did the same thing. Staked me, put me in touch, and that's why I went up to NorCal.
Yep.
And then came back from that, sort of idle for a little bit, and then they realized how, as you would put it, how much equity I had built up with that group, doing the work that I did up there, and then came back, and then that just continued to snowball into other things, and that's how I met Barry and got into Talon and have been doing a lot of work with them up until this latest job happened, to where I've turned down how much time I'm spending with them. And the job I'm on now, the guy who connected me to that was who I met at Max's class.
Yeah.
Which is the class I had to take to satisfy the client before I went up to NorCal.
Yeah.
So the first real job that I had, the stepping stone from there, came full circle here about 2 years later, and is now landing me in the job I could potentially retire off of.
Right. And I want you guys, as you listen to this kind of story that we're talking about with Kevin, Well, the first thing I'll say, shameless plug. So one of the things I do through Patreon is I mentor guys that are trying to get into the industry. It's something I just started out doing now, and it's something that's been working out great. One of my first dudes I've been working with, today was his first day actually on his very first celebrity detail, and we've been talking for probably like 3-4 months, and he's, you know, he just moved and he's trying to get set up and trying to get a new career and trying to get into EP. And so, you know, we started working the resume, we started working the relationships, and boom, he's on his first celebrity detail right now, solo with the client. So, you know, I talked to him this morning, was like, hey, bro, you know, and but he already has everything it takes. He's going to do great in this industry. It's just knowing how to bring that out and knowing how to sell yourself and market yourself and have someone look at what you got and help you with how to market that. But also how to go after the relationships. One of the things I want you guys, so you guys can, if you guys want to do that, go to my Patreon. You'll see it there. I think it's like $100 a month or something. The second thing I want you guys to pay attention to as we talk here is the flow of relationships. Relationships are the silent partner to success. I have that whole like, your net worth is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. Like, it's pretty stinking. It's something to it, because relationships are what got me in this game. They're what keep you in the game. And
it's how it evolves. It's how it progresses. That's the fresh material coming in to keep everything moving.
The blood, exactly. And your ability to widen your sphere of relationships ends up being your ability to be successful in a lot of different ways and to be your best every time you have contacts with opportunities to widen that sphere of relationships, you know? And so I love that. So just pay attention to the flow of relationships. And the other thing, so what would you say about cutting your teeth with a company? So, you know, or actually, let's dial it all the way back. So, we'll go into that. What would you say about cutting your teeth with a company? Because I always tell guys, like, hey, get on with your local EP company, security company. Cut your teeth with those guys. Get in there, render a good work product, do the crappy, you know, jobs, the crappy details, and show them that you're going to do those details good, so they get to know who you are. They get to understand your work product. They get faith in you, and then they start throwing you bigger pieces of meat. What would you say about that experience?
That was, in my ability to perform that, came from an individual I worked with at Surefire. And I have to mention his name because a lot of the perspective, the integrity, the work ethic that I put into this came from working under him. And you've met him before. You'll be seeing more of him. Steven Schwer.
Okay.
It's a guy at Surefire, former Marine, captain, military police.
Okay.
So he had a lot of the right perspectives for how to manage up and manage down for different relationships.
That's huge.
And
huge.
The biggest thing that I took from him is how to manage people above you. And if you have a good leader above you, their perspective is always, who is my next prospect to replace me? Is they're either moving up or moving out.
Yeah.
Whatever direction they're going in, if they're a good leader, they're not trying to be stagnant. They don't want the people below them to be stagnant. How do I help them come up?
Yeah. And who's going to be my next sergeant, my new general, my next officer that I can like take over the world with? You know what I mean? Who can I put in charge of the platoon next? You know what I mean? Like, that's, in my mind, that's what I'm always thinking, like, who's my next DL? Like, because I got to know who that guy is before I need him.
And you got to know who he is. You got to identify him. You have to start prepping him for it.
Yeah.
Invest in him so that when that time comes and you leave and that vacuum is there, he's the right person to get sucked in to fill it, and he's able to fill that gap.
Exactly.
And it's doing that while staying in your own lane. That balance was probably one of the greatest skills I took from him and continue to take from him to do that. Is the good people above you have to identify, you have to help them understand that you're that right person, and if you are, if they agree with that and you're trying to go up, they will help you come up, and doing that in the right way. That, and all the catchphrases that you use, they keep proving true every day. That, you know, the social equity with that person, and the social dynamics of how to have that balance is true. It's valid.
It's huge.
It's proven.
And one thing we're talking about, I don't even want to get on this rabbit tail because it's something I'm passionate about, is learning how to lead from the front and lead. And I don't mean like leaders lead from the front. I mean the freaking lowest guy on the totem pole, and how to do that job in a way that you are leading your leaders. Because like your leaders aren't always on the ground with you. They're not seeing everything you're seeing. They're literally depending on you to lead them, give them quality information, do a quality job, kick that information back up to, and you digest it, kick it back up to them in a meaningful way so they can plot all the points on the map and then, make intelligent decisions. Or they're depending on you on a daily basis to lead them well as well. This leading thing is cyclical. So it's like being an MVP follower and being able to like, hey, I'm going to lead my leaders and do such a good job at covering my corner that it's just like, you turn into a person that your leaders can lean on. And that right there is the secret to like, it like opens you up to promotion. Because that's the guy that I love working with him. He's leading me. That's the guy I need to put in the next spot as quick as possible.
You're showing that you understand not only the culture from where your station currently is, you have enough understanding of the culture of his station that you can filter what you're giving him in a way that's useful for him. You're showing I understand what you need. I'm not giving you a lot of fluff. There's not a lot of fat in what I'm giving you, and you can take it and you can run with it and do your level of things with it better. And that's showing that you're handling your level and you're understanding his level enough to feed it to him in a way that helps him.
Exactly.
But not doing it in a way where you're trying to do it for him.
Right.
And that balance and understanding that, knowing your role where you are in the ladder, but you're doing it to help him, is
valuable. Man.
Is valuable, yeah.
That's the fast track. That's how you get bumped up quick, But on this whole cutting your teeth thing, like, it's gonna suck.
Oh, yes.
The detail, you don't start off with the, CEO or whoever it is you think you want to work with. You probably don't even know what good clients look like yet when you first start, you want to be with. The cutting your teeth, the no glory details, but enjoy that trash, man. Be good at that. Do a good job at it because you're building your street cred. You're building your reputation. You know what I mean? And this is an extremely important step that you shouldn't gaff off or shirk at in what is necessary for you to become successful. Especially if you're not like if you're like the best looking guy who's the smartest guy with the best resume and like you're like, you got a tactical background and all this stuff, like it might be a little bit easier. Maybe. But like
if you have those accolades to rest on, then they help you go a little faster. But when you don't,
you better freaking work. Like me, I'm not the best at any of these things. Like I'm shorter than everyone on I'm like 5'10", bro. I'm 5'11" with my church shoes on. You know what I mean? Like nah, man. And I forget stuff, so I gotta like walk the route, drive the route extra. You know what I mean? So for me, I try to win the accumulative score too as much as I can. You know what I mean? But this is at the end of the day when your employer starts looking at everyone though, who he can trust becomes the most important thing. Unless the client is literally like, I want a jacked black guy. You know what I mean? Like, or the client gives parameters that they know that they shouldn't give because, of course, it's non-professional. But they do give because this is executive protection, and we want you to have it your way.
Well, I've seen those come out. No one shorter than 6 feet. Most of them in a black suit.
Yep.
Those parameters come out. I mean, I've had 6'5", so I mean, it helps and it hurts sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've had only black guys. I've had, we need gangster looking dudes. We've all seen these things come out. I've had some of the best agents I literally know get refused because they're not hood enough, they're not ghetto enough, they're not gangster enough. Oh man, God bless America.
They don't fit into that culture.
Yeah, they can't acquire the cultural equity. The culture rejects them before they even look at the work product. Okay.
That's like my current client. Like between me and our other guy, we have a Rolodex of almost any different kind of resume you can imagine. We have civvies, SWAT dudes, NIL dudes, Gov Intel dudes, whoever we want. Our client doesn't want the yoked out, inked out badass Navy SEAL.
You were saying he doesn't want the jacked, like, necessarily.
He doesn't want the jacked and tan, wall of muscle, inked out Navy SEAL looking dude, because he doesn't blend in his culture. He's not the guy who's willing to open doors, handle bags, talk to rich housewives who want to talk about how they think their gardener is, stealing fertilizer from their shed or something. It's who can blend into the culture, who can carry themselves in a way that doesn't look forced. It's not always those dudes.
Yeah.
But even the appearance, they don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the hood-looking guys. They don't want the Iceman-looking guys.
Yeah.
They want who looks like he's just another dude at the country club.
The softer side of serious guys.
Not a bad way to put it. You've met my partner, and it's not the worst way to describe it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally understand it completely, man. So, how would you say this whole thing evolved? Like relationships, from start to finish. You're like, yo, bro. You come back and you're like, dude, this thing happened. I got blown up at work. And I'm like...
and it came back, and, we're unloading the truck after being in Utah for a couple days shooting a big match. And I'm just like, and, one of the dudes I worked with, and I said, well, good trip, guys. Hey, by the way, we're not coworkers anymore. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Remember that phone call at lunch? They're like, all right, call Byron. Let's figure this out.
Heck yeah.
And then that started. And how my relationship took me to you was the very first job I had coming out of high school, working at the gun shop. The only reason I got that one is because when that whole market spun up, when the election happened, I was offloading a lot of my own collection for profit because that's how I was moving.
Yeah.
I found a local shop to go in and ship some stuff out because I had a couple out-of-state buyers. And the owner was like, do you know how to use the auction sites for guns? And I'm like, yeah, I did these for mine. She's like, I need someone to do that for me. Got hired. Some of the Surefire dudes came in and was using us for a little while.
Okay.
That eventually circled back several years later because that owner's daughter, she ended up going to work for them.
Yeah.
And then she gave me a hook to go and work in there several years later.
Sweet. Small world.
That small world came around. And then from there is when I got introduced to some of our other friends who work there. I'm not going to name drop them.
Yeah.
And that got me out into shooting USPSA.
Yeah.
Got into that, started doing that, saw that, hey, the ceiling for shooting skill is way higher above us than we think it is. Way up there. To the point where we're meeting dudes like Mike, who just push the ceiling every day, and you're like, there's no way, no Wonka Vader is ever going to chase this guy through up to the ceiling that doesn't exist for him. And that eventually brought me to you.
Yeah.
And just hanging out, shooting stuff, competing stuff, gun guy stuff, building guns. It was a good relationship. I was in my lane, you were in your lane. It was mutually beneficial. And then it crossed.
Yeah.
And then it took me down a whole other path.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting here, and you're like, yo, bro, I'm trying to get in the game. And I'm like, all right, I'll give you what I got. Let's make this trash work. I know you can do it. So now we need to help other people understand you can do it. And then it's like, okay, so what are you good at? Where are your strengths? How are you going to shine? So then I take you with my homies over with Charles and those guys, and we're going to have a shoot day. And Kevin can shoot. He can shoot. He can shoot better. He probably shoot. He can shoot better than most of y'all. I'm telling you, he can shoot better than most of y'all. He shoots better than me still. So, I'm like, I'm going to take Kevin with me on a shooting day and show him what, let my other homies and let Charles, who has his own company, see what Kevin can do and start that relationship chain, And I knew. I was like, because I knew that they were some some heavy hitters too, and I knew with the companies that I was dialed in with that, I could walk you in to some of those companies, but it wouldn't have the same equity as if some of the old heads, the older guard, walked you in, and I knew they'd be there. So if you could impress them, it was going to be you were going to go far, And you went straight to work, bro. You got in there, you started
helping them out with their stuff and like kind of doing. Would you say your mission was at the beginning of the thing? You started solving problems that they didn't know how to solve for them. You did, like, and they're like, hey man, how does this light work? And like, how, what's this technical difficulty I'm having with my gun? And he's like, you're like, oh look, you can just take on it this way, move this around, da 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 da. Let me just look at that real quick. And the next thing you know, you're like one of the boys. You know what I'm saying?
I found a home.
Yeah. Which I thought was awesome. And then that was like fire and forget. You're basically already off to the races at that point. And it was just a matter of time, and then you start getting work with them. And then...
Yep. And then I went to Max's class, and that same exact thing was what attracted my guy who I'm working with now, is he was in that class, and he was like, how can people shoot like this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just compete. Like, in our tempo, in our circle, that's like normal for us. But you go around some of the other security guys that maybe the only time they shoot is their annual BSIS qual.
Yeah. And they're doing their target shooting or going to a course and shooting, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I remember when you hit me up on the way that you're like, should I go to this thing? Like, talents, da 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 da. They gave us the opportunity to go to this thing, and I was like, bro. I was like, this is the opportunity, bro. I was like, go in there and burn that mother jumpy down. Now, so like, the second thing I always tell guys is, if you're trying to get into this game, go obviously apply everywhere. Take the feedback you get from where you apply. Use that feedback to learn how you can become more marketable and more attractive to those companies. So your job interview is not wasted whether you get the job or not. Okay, you don't get the job, you learn.
If
you do get
take
the
it
job
properly, you can dial in your own self-perspective if you know how to take it.
Exactly.
Because introspection is difficult.
For
most people, and if you're taking what other people are telling you, people who do nothing but read what you're presenting them.
Yeah.
You're only as good as what you present them. And taking back from that is learning how to present yourself better.
Yep, exactly. And then the second thing I always tell guys is go to local courses where you're at that are well known, or go to some of the big schools. But remember, when you're there, you're on a motherfucking job interview. Good to go. Because those guys in your class will either become your disciples, free marketing, or they'll forget about you when you leave. And so it's like when you're in there, it's like, dude, get in there, bring up the average, pretend like it's your first security detail, help everyone, show up big, contribute heavy. You know what I mean? Like, don't outshine anyone. Pretend like literally you're on a security detail and you're there to help everyone. And for you, I know you have the people skills. I was like, burn that class to the shoot better and faster than everyone, because that's how you're going to shine, man.
And the important thing is whatever you're bringing for strength, whatever the strength is you're showing, you have to be able to consistently bring that. If you come in once and you're a badass once, and they're like, oh, he can do this. And when they ask you to do that again and you can't, they're like, oh, he's nowhere near as cool as we thought he was.
Yeah, instantly.
So if you set the bar, you have to keep that bar. And whatever you have to do to keep that bar is what you have to do, because that's the level you're at now. You put yourself there. You have to stay there or go up.
That's your cool card. Yeah, so keep in mind, guys, when you're going to these courses, it is a job interview. You're literally interviewing with all the other people at that course. And they're either going to think of you when they go back to their job and their boss is like, hey, we need more bodies for this detail, or they're not. So it's like you want to leave a good impression. And then what happened?
I met my guy and kept in touch with him. Disappeared off to NorCal for far longer than we expected it to be.
Yes, cutting your teeth.
Yeah.
How long did you have to cut your teeth out there, bro?
It was supposed to be 6 months.
Supposed to be.
Turned into 18 and a half.
Yeah.
Like a year in, you were like, bro, when are you coming back?
Even I was like, homie.
You're like, I miss you. And I'm like, well, this is kind of your fault for putting me on this job, Byron. They're gone to NorCal.
You did this to us, Byron.
600 miles away, trying to achieve and take. That's another important perspective I've had with anything, is if someone gives me an opportunity, someone gives you a gift, they're giving you a chance to do something, don't let that person down. Don't make what they gave you wasted. Yeah. And that's the thing, is if Byron came and put his name on me to come do good work, if I don't do good work, I'm wasting the opportunity he gave me. You have to capitalize on that.
And reflects poorly on those people because they're vouching for your character. And that's huge.
And that reflects on, oh, well, Byron said this guy was good.
Yep.
And then he came in and he wasn't good.
Yep.
Maybe Byron doesn't know how to see good guys.
Yep.
When it's, no, Byron says he's good, he comes in, he's good. Hey, Byron knows how to find good guys. It translates on you as much as it translates on me.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. And that was kind of, even when you came into Talon, our silent partner. You know who you are. Our silent partner. And that's why I wanted him to bring you in there. I was like, I could bring him in, but I don't even know if they'll give him the same look that they'll give him if my big bro over here brings him in.
Oh, they definitely did.
Because
they kind of didn't believe it at first. They were fact checking the fact that he had actually
vouched for someone
done that.
You.
And to show you how far that went, I mean, how long have you had a relationship with Talon?
Oh man, it's been the second half of my career when I started working the Cali circus, over 5 years.
Over 5 years
or something.
At that point, you didn't feel you had the equity to bring someone like me in with enough strength.
Right.
So to give some perspective to that, I've been with Talon for almost a year.
Uh-huh.
Steven Schwer now works for them, from my recommendation.
Yeah.
And that's coming from the weight, the very massive weight of the person who brought me into them.
Yeah.
And I've come in and done good work with them. I've become one of the preferred agents on one of their largest accounts.
Heck yeah.
And have done good work with them. And they needed a guy. They had to think about, we need 30 dudes for this event.
The cattle calls, they're there. They will come.
And that one came up, and the last time big one came out, they were having a hard time filling it because there's a lot of work to be had, and they're getting stretched.
Yeah, good.
And they're very selective about who they let in, so the roster only goes so far.
So far, yeah, exactly.
And one of the last times it came up, and they were coming down to the wire, and they were asking, if you guys know any quality dudes, now's the time, we need them. And that call came up again. So I brought them Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Steve's a, bigwig at Surefire.
Mm-hmm.
He came in, did great work. He's squaring them away on equipment.
Heck yeah.
Now they have a fantastic relationship.
Awesome.
And it's mutually beneficial to both of them.
Awesome. Ideal outcome. Yeah, man. No, I mean, I can bring guys into Talon. I've done it, but I just knew it would be better for you if it went the way it went. You know what I mean?
And now on the back end of it, I see it. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, man, no, that's good stuff. The relationships, because we had conversations, and I felt the strain on you, and I felt bad when you're out there, friggin' cutting your teeth and getting your street cred on that detail because you're out there so long. And it's I remember hearing you say, dude, you put your name on me, I'm gonna do a good job, I'm gonna see this thing through, and I'm like. And
then after the third extension, I'm like, okay, how much does this mean to me to keep Byron's name clean? I'm borderline hitting depression. It was
just one of those details where it just drowned.
That county, highest crime rate per capita in the state. It was hard. If you're gonna cut your teeth in the shit work, so to speak, sometimes literally, that was the one.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
you caught that.
What advice would you give somebody trying to get into the game?
You need to open yourself up in a way that you're able to receive and act on as many opportunities as possible.
Heck yeah.
Whether that's
everything,
with different skills, different capabilities, the understanding of different cultures, the ability to talk to different cultures, is the more you're able to do, the more avenues coming to you that you can grab things from.
Yep.
And the more things you grab from and you get established in that avenue, that opens up more avenues. It's being as flexible as possible. Know a lot about something, know a little bit about everything, and the more things you know a little bit off of, that gives you a little bit of a hook to start building a relationship with somebody or something, because you have some knowledge in it. Mm-hmm. It's the ability to receive and act on things is the biggest. It's
huge, because when that employer calls you, it's I need a favor. Catch that fly ball, bro. You know how much relationship equity you're gonna get if you catch that fly ball? When someone hits you up and they're hey bro, we got something going down. Can you get there? Catch that fumble. Pick that ball. Pick that fumble up. Because if you can, relationship equity. And, you know, hey man, you got a suit with you? I always got a suit in the car, bro. Like, oh, like you're making plays, you know what I'm saying? Like, make as many plays as you can, work everything, and what you start to realize, and I've said it, what you were saying just now, in another way is, widen your sphere of influence and opportunity. The more stuff you work, the more people you're able to show a good side of your work product to. This sphere of influence, eventually you invest in it, and then all of a sudden, it starts investing back into you. As long as you get rendering good work. You do this and you do bad work and you try to look for shortcuts. And, you know, one of my other mottos is do no harm. And you know, maybe you paying a guy back and you throw some daggers in, you talk bad about people, you take a contract. It has an interesting way of finding you out, you know, because it's a very big, you know, relationships are everything in this thing. What would you say about now versus idealistic, you know, the ideals that you had about the game? And I know you know, working this type of client, you haven't really like gotten all the texture and all the experiences and all of it yet. You haven't done it enough to get tired of it and everything yet. But is it anything like you thought it would be like, or, you know, reality versus in your mind's eye? And then again, you knew all of us too, so you probably had a decently accurate picture.
Yeah, yes and no.
Yeah.
Perception versus reality. There was some of the scale of things and some of the intricacy of things, or some of like the perceived complex backgrounds of things. A lot of the times isn't. Sort of a lot. Like you'll hear someone say, "Oh yeah, like, you know, we had to jump on a plane, you know, last minute last night. Had to go to Israel, go do a thing, drive him around." Got him out of the hotel, got back, and like quick turnaround. You're just like, well, what's happening?
What does it really look like?
Yeah, it's like what's happening that person last minute has to book airfare for like 8 people to go to Israel, to drive around for a couple of days, and then to come back. And you go and do a job like that, and it's just like, oh no, like one of the buddies was in town, they need to go have lunch.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes like the grandiose image you build is something far more simplistic.
Yeah.
And sometimes kind of seeing behind the curtain for some of those things, you're like, oh, I was expecting more. Not to say it's not significant.
Right.
Because what's happening in these people's lives is significant, and it's,
right.
you know, steering the fate of multi-billion-dollar corporations.
Yeah.
But you're thinking it's some big master grand plan behind it, and it's really something just like, oh no, this is my favorite place to go to lunch. This is what makes me happy, we're going to do this. And it's like, oh.
Hashtag real EP stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, like, you know, and you find yourself having to you're putting car seats in the car and taking the kids to wherever for like 80% of the job. You know,
we need 2 vehicles, we need 4 dudes. You know, we're gonna do an op all day today. Got it. What are we doing? Get 4 car seats. We're taking everyone to Jim Jamboree.
Yeah, like dead serious.
Got it.
You know, and that's the game sometimes. Yeah, that's interesting. And that's why, that is literally why me and my buddies have that standing, hey dude, I'm doing some real EP-ish today, you know, like, you know, we're out taking the, you know, and because that's what it is, you know, it's admin, logistics, relationships, and keeping your character clean enough not to mess something up, take advantage of something stupid, take a selfie when you shouldn't, you know, and then also doing enough proactive work to avoid problems and not get caught with your pants down when you shouldn't have them down, you know.
Not getting caught up living the other person's life.
Yeah, that's huge. Not thinking your client's success is your success necessarily.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's a whole other problem.
And some of the jobs I've come into, I'm glad I had that advice from you guys already in my head.
Good.
Then be like, here I am on the Gulfstream.
Yeah.
I'm in the Lambo. It's just like,
it's
as much as you want to, and it's cool and it's a story.
Act like you've been there before.
Act like you've been there before. You're not paid to be there to take pictures to show off. You're paid to do the job and leave their lives alone.
Yeah.
You're paid there to help their lives, not to expose it.
Absolutely. And literally, like, leave as much. It's like going into like a botanical garden, like some kind of, you know, like all natural environment you're trying not to disturb. You know what I mean? Like,
it's very delicate. There's a very unique ecosystem there.
Exactly.
There's multiple different peoples and parties and types floating around.
Mm-hmm. And the whole thing's like watching you.
The whole thing is built on a thing of eggshells, and you're having to go through there and work without disturbing anything.
And you're a necessary evil.
Yep. You're someone who is required to be tolerated.
Exactly.
Nobody likes you. They tolerate you.
Exactly. Don't be entitled to anything. That's good, man. Are there any hard lessons you've learned already that stand out? I know we're like talking about stuff, but
I'd probably, to go back to the one I did before, is if you've shown one capability once, be able to consistently bring that, because then they're like, oh yes, he can do this. And then you go and be like, Kevin can do that. And then you're just stuck and looking like you can't do anything.
Yeah, and then they're like, why is this guy here again?
Like, I thought he was cool. You said he was cool. He could do that. He could do that. I don't know what happened. Being that person is not good.
Yeah,
I'd say it's the couple of times where that's happened is probably some of the hardest lessons. When it's like, there's no excuse. I did it once. Why can't I do it again?
Maybe it's just the wrong day of the week. I don't know. It was a full moon. I don't know.
It's like, I don't want to get into specifics, but
it's a hard lesson.
The times where that's happened has probably been
the hardest. Okay. Well, any proudest moments so far?
Oh.
When you're doing the job and you're just like, boom, like, heck yeah, you know, like, this is awesome. Or you're like that feeling of like, yeah, I did that well, heck yeah. Like,
I mean, it's hard to do it without getting into perspective, without specifics. But we've had, with our current client, there's one reoccurring event that we go to, multiple times a year. And we're getting into the rhythm of doing it. Getting the vehicles prepped, getting the route plan, getting them parking, getting them into the venue, conducting the venue, getting them out, driving the vehicle back, stowing the vehicle, is getting that routine down, and then every time improving upon it.
Yeah.
To a point when the clients actually sat us down and thanked us for making this thing so much better than they ever imagined the routine would be, just by constantly improving, finding better ways to do this, better communications with the venue staff for that.
Awesome.
Dealing with parking enforcement for this, finding, without getting into specifics, just finding ways to tune it and dial it and polish it for normal routines of their life or things they want to do, and having them thank us for making it better than they thought it was possible.
Yeah.
How often do you exceed the expectations of the billionaire?
Right. Who has everything at their fingertips.
Yeah. Who just says, do this, and it happens, and they're doing it better than they thought. It's the couple of times we've had that, I would say, probably the proudest moments. Like, I'm exceeding what they expect from us.
Yeah.
And again, now that's the new level that we have to maintain.
Yep. That's what
don't push it too hard.
Yeah.
You do have to push it. You have to prove your value.
And you always have to prove your value every single day. This is why you're paying me 6 figures. Here we go. And that is one of the principles I always say to new guys. Hey dude. What it takes to get your girl, it takes to keep her. Good to go? Don't be running around here. You want to act like Ultra Captain America Super Trooper every single day. You better be Ultra Captain American Super Trooper. You want to wear a suit every single day. Keep showing up in suits, bro. It will be your MO, and then you'll have all of us doing stupid stuff. But anyways, I'm just saying, if you wear a suit on your detail, it's not stupid. I'm just saying, I don't have to. I don't want anyone to make me have to do that. So
I'm happy we don't have to.
I'm happy I don't have to. Exactly. God bless you. I respect it.
Marriage is not a finish line. Marriage is the start of the next harder challenge. You getting the job is not a finish line. You didn't make it. Now you have a whole other challenge. Now you have to conquer. You got in. Mm-hmm. Now you're on floor 0 of getting in. Now you got to build your way up to it again.
Yes. That relationship's a living thing. You got to sustain it. Anybody can plant the seed. But can you sustain that life?
You got to sustain it and cultivate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And eat the fruit of it and sustain it. That's the game. That's the game. That's good stuff, man. That's really good gouge. Just sitting here thinking about that for a minute. What would you say about any future aspirations at this point, or are you just taking in everything where you're at right now?
Where I've come in now, and this one's kind of an interesting job, which is why I feel like I could potentially retire off of it. Is I've done celebrity clients, I've done high net worth business clients, I've done Fortune 100 corporations. Yeah. This one is interesting in that it is a very high net worth family who owns a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and we're doing both. When the family has something going on, we cater to whatever they need, and when they're not, we're doing all the corporate security for their huge organization. It's a hybrid, but we're the same team that's doing both and flowing in between the two. It's a very big scale. It's very diverse. There's lots of, the company has several thousand employees across several states.
Yeah.
And it's a big network to learn, to handle, to understand enough to where then we're going to start improving and start fixing and start polishing and start making it as successful as it has been and should be.
Yeah.
It's a big project. It's a big undertaking. It, like I said, could keep me busy till I retire.
Heck yeah.
Because even after the client's gone, he's got kids.
Yep.
Got to take care of the family.
Yeah.
Am I worthy enough to take over the rest of his family when he's gone? Well, I have some time to prove that to them.
Yeah. Good.
So I'd say my future aspiration is building up and doing as well as I have been across the rest of the industry into this opportunity that I've been given.
Yeah. Awesome. Heck yeah, man. No, I love that. Doing the best you can at where you're at right now. Heck yeah. That's what's up. That's what this game's all about, man. So, yeah, man, I wanted to... This is good stuff for guys to hear it firsthand. The flow of, how you got into the game and got to a place where you're playing it at a high level. I don't know how long or how many dudes I'll take on as like trying to help them get in the game.
And I was kind of the pilot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Some things.
Yeah, and because it depends on how much time it takes, but really it's managing relationships and things.
A lot of the things you've been repeating, a lot of the taglines, the social dynamics, the social equity, and a lot of the things you repeat. It sounds as cliche as, oh, you'll understand when you're older.
Yeah.
And then, you have to wait till you're older and you look back and you're like, damn it, they were right.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things, and it's a lot of good things coming up, and that's why they're being repeated, because with the right perspective and the right application, it will get you in the right spot.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to perform when it's your turn.
Exactly. And that information and those cliche things and like our cultural norms, and even in our group of friends, me, you, and Luke, and all the homies, it changes your perspective. This information, listening to this podcast, things like this, changes a person's perspective about the game and what's really it takes to be successful, and the values that are important to that. And perspective dictates performance. So then when they show up on that interview, they say the right things or they don't. When they catch that feedback from a client or a detail leader, they can digest it properly or they don't. They go to that training, they kind of know how to present themselves, or they ego out and try to outshine everybody, and the instructor loves them, but everyone else in the class can't stand them. And they get nothing from it but the certificate.
Yeah.
That perspective changes performance. It really dictates that. So that's huge, man. And I want to give a shout out to LSI, Law, Security, and Investigations, Charles Law, and the silent partner, who is like a big brother to me, who I love. I love those guys. Good shop. If you guys are out in Southern California looking for a good shop to go and check out and work for, look them up.
Is he going to be at the symposium?
Yeah, Charles is going to be at the symposium. And Talent Executive Services, another good shop. Look them up. And if you guys are looking for some good shops to try to get on with, and their talent, Barry Kane and Barry will both be at the symposium too.
Both of them.
Well, they said they will, man. So of course, we're permitting as we are professionals here. So
they're ever flexible.
Yeah, ever flexible, man. So they're going to be there too.
Charles is a good one to get on with. He prides himself on giving dudes their initial shot. Can I give a good dude a good opportunity to see how well he shines and help develop themselves and kind of project them off in that direction? That's what he did with me. That was what the silent partner did with him. To get him started. Now his company is growing and he's taking over the world one day at a time.
Heck yeah.
Like that, and he's some of the big accounts, some of the big celebrity accounts I've worked on with him was the same thing. There was a lot of fresh people coming through. Some guys got cycled out, some guys got cycled up.
Yeah.
And it's getting that first good impression, that first cutting your teeth,
proving yourself,
laying your groundwork to show what you're able to do. And if you have good leaders above you, like Charles, like his staff, if you have the potential, he'll do what he can to help if you're willing to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And he was like kind of a mentor to me in terms of how to run an executive protection company, a security company. I've learned a whole lot from Charles, absolutely. And Cam, me and Barry did an episode too, guys. A few episodes back, you'll see his episode back there. I might throw it in the notes here so you guys can link straight to it.
It's like 30 something.
Yeah,
Barry Mosian.
Me and Barry Mosian did an episode, which was really good. It was real good. So what would you say is one good habit that you think either makes you a better protector or a better person?
Bring it down to one thing.
Because the thing is, like, yeah, we work 9 to 5 or we work a 12-hour shift, but the thing is, we all have these habits. Like, executive protection is a thing, but like protection is a lifestyle. That's what the guys that are in protection, we're training multiple things, multiple ways, all the time. We're thinking a certain way. We're learning certain ways. You know, we're living life we live life like protectors. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we do life. So I always like to see, you know, what you would want to contribute on this.
I would say, especially as someone like me who's still a baby in the industry, barely 2 years in, and for guys who are trying to get into it, is whatever your strength is, whatever it is that's your skill that's going to get you seen.
Yep.
At the bare minimum, whatever level that's at, the goal should always be to improve it.
Yeah.
The bare minimum should be to maintain it. Whatever you have to do to maintain the level you're at. Like this morning.
Yeah.
We shot the match.
Yep.
We're trying at minimum to maintain how warmed up we are in that field with the goal to push ourselves.
Yep.
So whatever that strength is, whether it's driving, shooting, medical, whatever your thing is, bare minimum is that maintenance, that integrity to put the time to invest in yourself to keep yourself where you're at.
Yeah.
So you can't fall below where you are. You're either staying the same at a bare minimum, not losing any ground, or you're gaining ground.
Yeah.
And whatever it takes to do that.
Heck yeah. And it's like, I might not be good at all these things, but I bring this. You know what I'm saying? I bring this to the table. You know, that's interesting. You got me thinking, like, what my thing is. Like, really at first, I would say, like, it's that people skills. Like, I just know that, like, my clients will be happy with the way that I deal with people and the way that I make their brand look by the way I deal with people and the way I present myself. Has always been like, okay, cool. You know, I was a kid talking in class too much. So for me, it's like my social skills, my social dynamics is something that it's like a really, really ultra soft skill that you look at an EP guy and you're like, how's that going to be? You know what I mean? But especially in today's world, it's turned out to be an extremely valuable thing, you know. And then beyond that, okay, all right, I'm a pretty strong dude and whatever.
You're grabbing from the gym every morning,
yeah.
Proving that you're keeping that part of it maintained.
Right, and I have to, because I got a freaking fat kid. There's a fat version of Byron, homie, that's chasing me right now, you know what I'm saying? And I can't let him catch me, bro. I know he's there, you know? I see him, at any rate. But yeah, man, and so, cool, man. Let's see, favorite quote or mantra?
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. That's really good. That's like,
if you're going to boil anything down, whatever it is that you're doing, make it make sense.
Yeah. Okay. Heck yeah, man. And then on the, man, if you guys want to know how I can help you, with your career, go check me out on Patreon. Go to my website, Byron Rodgers Motivation. You're going to see support the podcast tab there. You go through there, you go into my Patreon, and you'll see it's a membership level. I believe it's like the movement team. It's like $100 a month. And what you get with that is you get the opportunity to do like a strategy session with me where I'll look at your resume, I'll look at your service offering, and I'll help you. I'll be like, yo, you need to change this, and this. This sounds this way, this looks this way. This is what I would say. And then I'll come up with an actual strategy as to how you're going to get into the industry with you. I'll like sit down and be like, you need to do this, that, and the next thing, and then I'll go on that ride with you and try to make you successful. So far, it's working pretty good. It's pretty fun, and and I'll try to coach you through the process. And I don't know how many people I'm gonna let in that door, because as Kevin knows, my time, bro, my time is very much at its max bandwidth. So yeah, man, I look forward to hopefully helping some really good agents get in there. And if you're like ultra, amazing, I know people. You know what I'm saying? It can be that simple too. Anyways, man, it's been good. Is there anything else you want to drop on them before we close this thing out?
No, I think
we got it all out.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. And is there anywhere you want to send them to find you?
I don't have much out there right now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping once this project I'm doing with our FFL kicks off, I'll have something public facing for it. But
okay.
Otherwise, just you'll see me deleting stupid stuff in the EPL Facebook group.
Oh yeah, he's one of our admins in the EPL group too. So you'll see him go in the Executive Protection Lifestyle group, become a member there, and you'll see Kevin in there popping shots and doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, man, this is a good one. Sounds good. That's what we got for y'all. Hey, get your tickets to the symposium if it hasn't already happened when I drop this, because this thing is filling up. It's amazing. A number of police departments have made it something that they're going to send their folks to, that they'll actually comp them for getting tickets and coming and training with us. It's turning out to be huge. The training's going to be awesome. The kicking it's going to be awesome, though. We got a mixer after the first night where you all get to hang, get to know each other. And then, then the next morning you're in the same room with everybody. Everyone knows who everyone is and stuff. And that's where the deals get made. So, hey, show up if you're a professional that's trying to get in the industry. If you're a law enforcement guy, show up. It's going to be a good time. If, you're going to learn stuff, it's going to help you be better at your job. If you're a civilian, come, take your protection game to the next level and understand who the sheepdogs are out here in your environment too, And who knows, maybe you'll get in the private security industry. Everyone's going to be there. So
regular dudes can do it.
Regular dudes can do it. That might be the name for this one right here. Regular dudes can do it. All right, y'all, man, that was a good episode. I look forward to hanging with y'all, training with y'all, and seeing y'all on the next one. Out.
And if you haven't already, get your tickets for the Protector Symposium. The first annual Protector Symposium is taking place in Riverside, California, November 15th and 16th. We've got an all-star lineup of seriously elite trainers. Yosef Badu, Ed Caldrone, and Mike Pannone are all going to be there teaching and instructing us on our common goal, how to make good people more dangerous. So no matter what your background is, you're going to learn skills around the one unifying principle of protection. Get your tickets. Spots are going quickly. And remember, you're going to get over $100 worth of value back in different things that you're going to get from our sponsors with your purchase of a ticket. Check the website out, Byron Rodgers Motivation, for ticket information and to learn more. Out. Boom. And to support this podcast, go to executiveprotectionlifestyle.com and contribute to our Patreon account. That Patreon account is what helps me make this podcast possible, contributing to this brand, what we're doing here, making it so that I can bring better guests on, making it so that we can plan more events and just expand the contribution to the private security industry, and also to making America a safer place by teaching people how to protect themselves and the mindset behind that, the lifestyle behind that. You guys are already killing it. $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever you can do that you would probably just lose in the mattress anyway or spend on McDonald's. Hey, you want to put it towards something that's going to good use, put it towards a podcast, and get involved in our Patreon account at executiveprotectionlifestyle.com. And if you want to find me, that's byronrodgersmotivation.com. Do whatever you can, contribute whatever you can to that Patreon account, because it makes all of these things possible, ladies and gentlemen. So much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you for making those contributions. You guys rock. We're already doing amazing there, and it's just because of you guys. So thanks once again for those contributions. Boom. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast. This whole entire thing actually just started off as a Facebook group that blew up and is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing, executive protection Facebook group online. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. Follow us on Instagram and check us out at executiveprotectionlifestyle.com. If you want to find me, that's Byron Rodgers Motivation.com, and I'm on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. So until the next podcast, y'all, stay sharp out there. And as I say it, one mind, many weapons. Talk soon. Out.